All right, guys, this is a trace mineral update and a soil health update. I'll explain that here in just a second. The plot has still went through a very rigorous drought and heat stress. I've had a grand total of 1 inch of rain in 4 weeks now, and I'm hoping that the weather pattern is fixing to change. Starting tomorrow, there's a chance of rain every day all week, but that forecast could change on a dime. But I finally got some rain last night, and the plot has perked up quite a bit. The growth rates in the greenery is what is shocking me. It was still growing at a fairly decent clip without the rainfall, and now that rain has hit, the trace minerals beforehand were already showing me some great signs that they were actually working without the P and K fertilizer. So there's no P and K that I have put in here. Now on this end, when I did that part one, for those of you that are new on the trace minerals here, I was already really tired. And I focused a lot more along these edges and just as far as I could toss it with what energy I had left. I had worked all the way around, come back, cut through here, put a big patch of it here, and another patch of it roughly right in here as far as heavy doses go. And the plot is already showing me that I'm going to have to apply heavily because the trace minerals are probably just really that bad right now. And what I did years ago was putting a band-aid on it. I knew it wasn't enough, and then this got reconverted to hayfield again, and it got raped for 4 years, and now it's returned back to a food plot. So everything that I had done in the past was pretty much eat up. So the soybean, first off, this area here I threw in, and don't forget I had that 5-pound bag of sulfur and manganese. 5 pounds ain't going to cut it, guys. This plot needs about 60 pounds in order to fix what's really going on. But what I did throw in here was the heavy trace minerals and heavy sulfur and manganese set along these edges. And now I have way healthier looking soybean, even though I'm still pumping out a few of these holes here. There's some leaves in here that have none, which is really good to see. The buckwheat plant responded the best. All the new leaves didn't have any holes in them. The soybean started off that way, and because I knew it wasn't enough, it is wearing off, and the holes are returning at a pretty good clip, which tells me I'm really short. Maybe I should, too bad you just didn't put a smiley face right here to help out with that. Nice big smiley right there. But here, if you notice from the camera's point of view, look at this growth hump, and then we taper off and everything's kind of evenly growing, and then you look over there at the rim and it's humped up again. These trace minerals have really flushed some strength during drought into these plants. The leaves here are getting way bigger. You know, this is going to be really close. I might end up pushing a new record this year as far as leaf sizes go, thanks to these trace minerals. No P and K put in here. It was pure trace mineral. And these plants are responding much better. These over here, now these are really clean looking. No holes in those. No holes there. If you notice too how dark green that has gotten. These new leaves. Now see, here we go. We had all these no holes, and there's that new leaf. The holes are back. So this is telling me that it's wearing off. It's already absorbed a high percentage of what I set out. And the growth rates probably will continue for a little while longer. But the manganese is just wearing out too fast. But even here, growth rate hump again. See, it humps up right here. Every bit of this is humping up. And then we go down here. And of course the wind was blowing in my face when I was down here. But it humps up again. Not quite as much, but pretty good growth here. That's actually still growing faster than this spot here. So this right here should take off. And just so you know, I will have to add, I know I'm going to have to add some P and K in this hole right here. That's just not growing right. So this one little spot, I'm fine with that if I have to add some P and K. But that's only maybe 3 to 5 pounds worth. I'll take that all day long over what I was doing in the past. So same thing here, growth rates, green levels, they're all fantastic looking, and serious level heat and drought beginning. I would say if we don't get rain here in the next week or two, this plot is going to be in a totally different story. And looking, and for also spraying will be the next thing I do here, and I'm going to have to do very little of it, very little. I got to spray these morning coffee plants out right here. I don't want them back. I'm trying to get rid of them. But look at that, perked up, taken off, and no rainfall hardly at all. There's one sunflower that managed to come up from that seed I got from my company. Kind of crappy seed. But you can see here the soybean is just taking over. There's other species in here, but the buckwheat's dying off. The sun hemp is not growing as fast as it normally does due to some of the drier conditions, but it's still trying at least. Over here, the Mongolians, I put trace mineral all the way up this strip. I wanted to go ahead and include that. And some of these have weak growth, some of them don't. That's considered pretty weak, very small, considering I know what these guys can do. But right here, this is going to have to be sprayed out. Really bad area right here. But that soybean's growing great in there. Still holding strong. Up here, heavier dose of trace minerals was here. I saw a lot of holes in these leaves when early on, and I used quite a bit of that powdered trace mineral right in here, and these soybeans here are killing it. They're taking over the weeds now. It's hard to do that sometimes. These are growing better, but again, trace mineral deficiencies, you're missing a lot here. Missing a lot. Not bad. So the goal here is to make sure my food plot is functioning right. I don't want to miss out on anything that could slow my deer down. Also cuts down production. And now I want to get into a soil health update here. And I find this extremely pleasing that when I modified my tilling, this is really the first year I've noticed something different with the plot. In years past, because of the hard pan, I had a really nasty J root in my plants. And because of that, it slowed the plants down. The growth just wasn't nearly as good. They had a hard time with moisture abilities. So let's do a little check here. And I've started finding multiple plants now that have much better roots, and I snapped that sucker off. Well, that didn't help matters. You can see even with pests in here, it's still growing great. All right, let's try this again. I don't want to make a big hole here, so let me pick one from over here. All right, let me try this one. That grew on a rock, unfortunately. But I want you to notice something. Usually when I get an ugly J root, when it goes out this way, it doesn't turn down. The roots are turning down, straight down. So that tells me that my hard pan is diminishing under the soil because I'm not digging near as deep. So I think from this year forward, the plot should perform better overall because the roots are going to perform better overall. So even in drought, I am tickled to death with what I've got right now. Would it be taller and thicker than this? Sure. But if you work food plots long enough and you have that bad soil problem, when you start seeing progression in your food plot, when things get better and better, drought hits and you're like, okay, the plot is still growing. 2 weeks may go by, the plot's still growing. 3 or 4 weeks may go by, the plot is still growing. I am at week 4 and I'm still growing, although the growth rates have slowed down, which is expected. But the fact that it's still growing is the complete opposite of what this plot started off. Drought showed up and I'd lose it, or I would lose a vast majority of it, and there's nothing I could do. Not that way now, because this soil has gotten so much better. All right, guys, I will do more follow-ups to this, and believe me, my deer are not missing out on a lot of food. There's more food here than they can handle right now. I've also got multiple babies that I've seen, and I may show some pictures of them here before long, but I want to get a final head count before I do anything to see how many I think we have. I'm hoping we have at least 6 to 7 minimum is what I'm hoping for. All right, guys, you all have a great day.